extreme close-up. Whoa!
What is happening, guys? We are back. October, no more secrets, Mille Lacs Lake, part 2. Now, one thing about this is going to be this. So these baits, this is basically going to be the bottom contact segment of the No More Secrets deal. So, you know, our last video, we talked a lot about minnows. You know, 4, 5, 6-inch minnows are going to be some big players this time of year. Now, once that water temp starts to get really, really cold, the minnow bite will start to fade just a little bit. And some baits that get bit better to me during this time of year, once that water temp starts to dip, is gonna be bottom contact baits. So I got quite a few on the deck that I'm gonna show you guys, but first off, I'm gonna remind you guys of something. One of my favorite releases from Net Bait that just came out is this bad boy right here. This is the Prop Duster 6.5-inch minnow bait by Net Bait, and this thing is just a fish catcher. But one of my favorite parts about this bait is the absolute draw power that it has. You know, fish cannot help but to look at this bait. Now, it doesn't matter if they're tight to bottom and you can't see them, or if they're behind an itty bitty boulder that you might not know that they're behind. This bait, you get this over the top or around anything, and they want to pop out and at least, at the very least, take a look at it and let you guys know that they're there. So this is a great draw power tool, and it's honestly, it's my favorite bait that Net Baits came out with this year. And then last but not least, we got the Sonics Pinch. You know, that Sonics Pinch is definitely an awesome bait to have on the deck for a football jig trailer, Ned rig trailer, even a baby swim jig trailer, or you could throw this on one of those baby jack chatterbaits. It's a really, really good trailer for a variety of bottom contact baits. And I can't forget drop shotting. You know, you can take this and you can drop shot it for largemouth, what seemed to be extremely effective this last summer for the summer months. But yeah, just a great finesse football jig trailer. So the Sonics Pinch and the Prop Duster 6.5-inch, two awesome highlighted baits that I just wanted to show you guys for this No More Secrets. So let's jump right into it. We're gonna start off with the very first bait on my deck. And you know, this bait has been locked in my hand since I started fishing out on the pond, and I probably used it more than any other bait on the deck. And if I was being honest and you only gave me one bait for the rest of my life to throw up here in the North Country for smallmouth bass, it's gonna be a Ned rig, and here's why. It doesn't matter if the water is going from cold to warm, warm to cold. You can catch them on the front end with this bait, and you can catch them on the back end of this bait. So, you know, in my mind, this is gonna be one of the most steady and most consistent fish catchers that you can possibly get, and that is the Ned rig, you know. So the head that I'm using, we're gonna talk a little bit about the head that I'm using. This is a new head made by my buddy Chase out in Washington, and this is a custom head made by him. And if you guys want to, you guys can order this and just get a hold of me. I'll drop his contact info in the link below. But Chase made all my tube heads, all my tube jigs, my Ned rigs, and my football jigs this year. So I'm pretty excited to get these things out on the water and get them worked. I was down on the river the other day and kind of messed around with them a little bit just to check out like strength testing them and just making sure that the baits sit right with them. I'm a pretty picky guy when it comes to terminal tackle and jigs, so I really wanted to make sure that these were gonna be a good fit and for the guide service and you know, all that good stuff. So I really was impressed with this specific Ned head, and all the other stuff that he made me was really awesome. So one thing that I really like about this Ned head, now, if you guys look, the eyelet is indented into the lead head itself for reasons I'm not gonna tell you guys, but essentially gives this bait just a unique look, and it does give it unique functionality. And then of course we got the rounded head on it, just like the old Ned heads that we used to use before. So a really sweet Ned head. I would definitely lock the Ned rig into your hand, especially when that water gets really cold. Now, one thing that I'll say, this bait to me, you can use it till the bitter end. I've caught them in 39, 40 degree water temps with the Ned rig. So definitely my first choice for when the water gets really cold. We have a Crush City Ned BLT on the back of it, and we are using what I found to be, it's probably gonna be my first or second choice when it comes to fishing a bottom contact bait, and that is the Halo HFX series 7-foot medium. So this is definitely gonna be one of my first choices for bottom contact baits. It's definitely a great sensitive rod, really good feel out of it, and it's got perfect bend in the tip. Running it with a Daiwa Tatula 4000 LT, 10-pound braid to a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. Not much has changed with the Ned rig setup. We've ran it the same for the past 5 years. Next, we got a bait that plagues me sometimes, man. And the reason why it plagues me is because it seems like I get short struck on this bait quite a bit, but sometimes metal is the only thing you can get them to bite, especially when it gets really cold. So we are showing off the Megabass Dyna Response blade bait. Now this is, in my mind, this is one of the best blade baits on the market. I think that this and the Demiki Vault probably are the two of my favorite ones. Now I don't throw a blade bait a bunch. You know, this is a last resort deal for me personally. I just feel like they short strike this bait a lot. A lot of times I'm getting them just with that one hook. But I went out the other week and I threw this around just on this BB series rod because I wanted to find a good blade bait rod for you guys out of the Halo series rods. So I tried it with the KS2 and I tried it with the HFX, and another really good way that you can utilize your BB series scoping rod is going to be with the blade bait, man. The tip is perfect for it. You don't get a ton of a lot of rod bend way back into the rod. It's going to come way more up at the top quarter of the rod. So that makes a big difference as far as hookup percentages go and stuff like that. Now I didn't actually hook one with this rod, but just based on what I got for give into the rod when I hooked onto a rock and kind of gave it a little bit of a stress test, I just think that this is going to be a perfect rod for a blade bait. All right, so next we got a swim bait, and this is a 4-inch YG Labs witch shad. You know, and one thing that I like about YG Labs is their stuff is extremely real-like. So, you know, the feel of this bait, it feels really lifelike, and just a lot of really realistic action out of it. I have this on a 1/4 ounce Goldeneye by Outcast Tackle, and what I'm doing with this, guys, is just how slow can you move it? You know, once that water temp gets under 50, a lot of times I'm not mid-strolling. I am creeping these things so slow across the bottom. So I got this on my jerkbait rod on a bait caster. 12-pound test, Seagar Tatsu, and then 1/4 ounce Goldeneye, YG Labs 4.0 witch shad, and then just running on my Halo jerkbait rod, BB series. So a lot of times what I'll do with this bait is when I can see them, I can kind of see them crawling on bottom. You know, this is the time of year when you're just gonna barely see them running across bottom on your live scope. So a lot of times what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bomb cast this out. I'm gonna wait till it hits bottom, and I am literally gonna fish it almost as slow as I fish a football jig. You know, I'm gonna crank really slow, kind of pull it, wait, crank it really slow, kind of pull it and wait. So really slow presentation. And then I really just like that, the real look of that witch shad. Next, we got my favorite. We got my favorite this time of year, man. This is the Finesse Football Jig by my boy Chase. You know, Chase makes some great tackle. And one thing that I really like about his football heads, hand wire tied skirts. They're not coming off. And then I got net bait Sonic's Pinch on the back of it. This is a 1/4 ounce. You know, I like getting up into, I got the 1/4 ounce on for the river, you know, so it doesn't get hung up as bad. 3/8 seems to get hung up pretty bad in the river because you got the sticks, you got wood, all sorts of shit floating on bottom or sitting on bottom that can hang you up. So a lighter bait is gonna be better for me on the river. But once we get out in the Mille Lacs and we're fishing rocks you know, I'm probably gonna use like a 3/8 or a 1/2 ounce football jig, and same deal, Sonic's pinch on the back. We're running this on the Halo BB Series jig rod. You know, this rod's perfect for it. I mean, it is the jig rod. It is technique specific, the jig rod, and it is a perfect finesse football jig rod. I got on 17-pound test fluorocarbon, and one thing that's unique about this jig, it's using a hook that I'm not familiar with, that I haven't used a ton of, but Chase puts what's called a Victory hook in it, and I stress test these hooks a little bit and got to mess around with this out on the river the other day. Definitely a sweet hook. It's super strong, super sticky, and yeah, just a great jig in general, but all 17-pound fluoro on it, and you know, that's what we're gonna run. So out on Mille Lacs, this is definitely gonna put some big ones out on the boat. Last but not least, we have the tried and true, a bait that is pretty comparable to the Ned rig, you know, the tube. This bait is gonna get bit all year round. It's, again, you know, it's a lot like the Ned. It's gonna get bit all year round, and it's tried and true. They've been catching smallmouth with this bait since probably the early 90s going all the way into today. So this is a 4-inch tube by Net Bait. You know, fall time, stuff's getting bigger, stuff's topped out on size. It's not like springtime where everything's really small. So I'm gonna run a 4-inch tube, you know, 4-ounce tube, and we are using one of Chase's badass tube heads. And obviously you guys can't see it in there. I'll give you guys a little better look at it here in a second, but 20-pound fluorocarbon, 3/16 ounce weight, and then I am running it on the Halo KS2 rod. This KS2 rod is a great tube rod, man. This thing just has the perfect amount of sensitivity and power to drive that hook home. Now, I found a lot of different uses for this KS2 rod, but one of the better ones is gonna be for a tube. You know, and you could use a Halo BB Series jig rod for a tube too. That'd be a great choice, but definitely a great tube rod in my experience. And then we're running it with a Daiwa Tatula Type R. We got 20-pound fluorocarbon on there, and you know, just bait casting setup, man. Fall means big swings. I can't wait to catch them with that bait, dude. I just cannot wait. So water temps are falling, the bite is getting better. Every single day that I'm out there, it seems like it just keeps on getting better and better and better. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys this tube head. That's what it looks like. That's the hook that's in it. And it's almost like an O'Shaughnessy hook. I can't remember what it's called. It's like a laser point hook or something like that. Victory Tackle makes it. And if you guys look at the way this angles into the tube, now that's how it sits straight up and down. So it's almost like I got just a little bit more angle going out. Dude, you guys, we're here. Like it's the final month, probably month and a half of the season. The water temps are gonna start getting really low. Like I said, these baits are all gonna work on any lake with smallmouth. Clear, dirty, does not matter. But these baits are definitely gonna work. As you guys can see, it is gassing outside today. So that's kind of why we're in the garage. We're getting the boat ready, getting tackle ready for our guide trips for next week. And then we are shooting some stuff with my buddy Bill Jackson. He's coming up here. But guys, I do want to say, it's Sunday today. God bless you guys. I hope that you guys and your families have a great and incredible weekend. And we are going to see you guys next time on the water. So here's what's going on, guys. Me and cameraman Keegan, we've been putting in the time today. Like, serious time in this shallow water. And pretty much what I found out is there's a bunch of bucks up shallow, but there's not a lot of big females. So my guess is they're in between, and there's not a bunch of them yet. I'm guessing that last week, the unstable weather probably has a lot to do with it. I don't know, but I came back here thinking that we could get more bites. We ran into a little pattern in the bank just to the east of us, and it definitely had them along one bank, and that's pretty much the only good thing that I've came across in here. Otherwise, this lake's been tougher than what it usually is.